Battle of the Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series.
Welcome to a Christmas Battle of the Network shows bonus episode. We're going to talk about some of our favorite toy commercials from back when.
Yeah, not necessarily all favorites in my case, but just some notable ones, I would say.
I tried to pick things that I kind of remembered, and I do have a few. I have at least one honorable mention and a couple dishonorable mentions.
Ooh, dishonorable. I don't have any dishonorable
Not because the commercials are bad, but because they influenced me to ask for things that then were kind of a letdown.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I selected some that I remembered and enjoyed for various reasons, and then I also asked to get a different perspective. I just asked my sisters and my wife, Lori, for just like an idea or two of ones
girl
that they
commercials.
Remembered. Yeah. Because they didn't really come to me. I was kind of thinking more of like, what I was interested in, what I wanted to buy.
Of course.
Yeah, and all of my selections are from the 80s. I don't know if I wonder if there'll be any crossover. I don't think so. Actually, no. I'm sorry. One of these commercials that I wanted to mention is from 1977.
No, mine, because there weren't any of those yet.
It premiered in 1977, according to, but it was probably, I think I saw it like well into the 80s.
Okay. You want to go first?
Why don't you go first, and we'll alternate maybe.
I feel like my choices are a little obvious, but there are many Star Wars toys commercials, of course. And I watched a number of them to try to find one that, in particular, I'll mention a few kind of side ones that I enjoyed. There were a couple Empire Strikes Back era ones where kids are playing with the Wampa and saying, Wampa, Wampa, Wampa.
Right. Yep.
I like that. They're showing their imaginations. But the one I picked, I think because I had this toy, I mean, I had a lot of those toys, but I didn't have everything. But also, when I did watch it, it amused me, was for the Cantina playset. Okay. Which I didn't get it for Christmas. I got it for a birthday, but, it was a little plastic platform with a cardboard background. But it had a lot of cool play features, like there were little discs that the figure could stand on, and then a lever, and made it look like they were shooting, and then the other character would be on a little bump that would knock him over. So in the commercial, in this 30 seconds, the kids are playing with it. It's Han Solo, Hammerhead, and Greedo, of course. And extra amusing, giving all the angst people have been having for... since 1997 about who shot first.
Right.
And in the space of the 30 seconds, Han kills Hammerhead and Greedo. I don't know why he killed Hammerhead. He didn't do anything. He's just like, Hammerhead, boom. And then Greedo is like, I told you not to follow me.
Oh, that's great.
And then he walks out and like, what a weird place. And there's some, faux Cantina music playing. So I both enjoyed the commercial and that toy.
Wow. I think I did have the Cantina.
I think there might have been a cardboard version, like an all cardboard version before that.
Okay.
But yeah, and I remember getting that around actually the Empire time.
Okay.
Because it was like the same birthday where I got Lando.
There was a pretty good run there of a couple years where anything Star Wars, I'd want it for any occasion where there might be a toy, and anything I'd see on TV, I'd want it. I didn't get all of it, I'm sure, but I got a pretty good amount of Star Wars toys. Looking back, I had a lot.
There's a Millennium Falcon commercial. It's cool too. Just seeing kids playing like, man, that thing was big. Yeah. When you're a kid, that is really cool. Yeah, like flying around with both hands.
Right. Yeah. That took some doing to manipulate that through the air. But yeah, that's a good one. All those Star Wars commercials, you're right, were great. Yeah. Now the one I don't remember at the time, but I saw like fairly recently, I forget how we came across it or something on YouTube, but the one where they're advertising the certificate.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't have enough. Yeah. They didn't have the toys weren't ready, so and they're cheating it like you get a certificate to, and I think they try to finesse it. Yeah. To cover the fact that it'll be months until you get this. But I guess the idea is like, parents, you can have something to put under the tree. It's probably, I guess, more for parents. It's kind of hard to sell that to kids under any circumstances if you're being honest with them. So yeah, excellent choice. Well, since you went there, let me mention one that I love. The commercial and the toy, Superpowers, the Hall of Justice. And the one commercial I'm thinking of, they talk about the toy line. They show the heroes, like animated, like the heroes and the villains, like Luthor, you got Superman, and the Hall of Justice. Yeah. What a great play set that was.
Did you have that?
Yes, I did. Oh. I love the Superpowers line. I collected Secret Wars too. I still have, many of my old Superpowers. I do not have the Hall of Justice. Justice, but it just something about it. I mean, and I recognize it from the Super Friends cartoon and everything. And then, oh man, that was one of the things I most wanted, I think, and I did get it for Christmas. And you know, it was cool. It was Santa Claus. Not only did he get it for me, but Santa Claus was cool enough to put it together with the decals, mind you.
Yeah.
Under the tree is like so it was ready for play with, you know, like superhero figures.
Yeah.
But the commercial, like, it builds it up pretty well, I think. And you know, you see the thing, and you see like compartments and stuff going on inside, but mostly just the idea of like, they actually made a toy of this, you know, this is the play set that I wanted, and to have that probably that and the Death Star, because I did have the Death Star, like two favorite play sets as a kid. And I think, you know, you could put your figures in retrospect, you know, the Hall of Justice was it was one level, you know, maybe it could have been a little bit more majestic.
Yeah.
But at the time I loved it. So that's a commercial, like, makes me smile seeing that now. And the whole Superpowers line was my favorite toy line, probably of the 80s for a while, until something else came along.
I have a fantasy about getting enough Death Stars, because, you know, it's a wedge, to make a circle out of them.
Wow, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
that's a great idea. I never thought of that.
But money aside, of course, I know from my own experience with it, they are pretty fragile. Yeah. Well, my next one is Super Joe. Ooh. The short-lived between original G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero.
Okay.
It was Super Joe. He had a karate chop. He wore a vest with a little flashlight on it. He had a couple enemies I never had, or one enemy, or two. There was like a lizard dude, and then a big motorized lizard monster, which I did have, the Terron. And then there was also a guy with a shield, like a knight, sort of space knight dude. Not Rom Space Knight, but a different space knight guy. Uh-huh. They all had these lights, so they would, like pin lights, so they would flash at each other. And then there was also like a space command center, and I had that. Ooh. I see all these things, and I'm like, you know, that was the same era as Star Wars and stuff. And I'm like, my parents were spending way too much money on us.
Yeah.
I know things were a lot cheaper then, but still.
Yeah.
The commercial I was thinking of, and I did, and this was definitely a thing where the commercial made me want to have it, was that Terron monster. Huh. It was like this big, you know, walking lizard monster dude, and then he has a little, his eyes light up, and the inside of his mouth lights up, but he has a little sensor of some kind beneath his chin, and if you shine a light in it, it stops walking. Ooh. So you could either it came with a flashlight, you could use that, or you could use Super Joe's vest to do the same thing.
Wow. That's pretty, I don't remember that commercial. I'm going to have to check that out.
And a lot of those are cool, because they kind of show kid, but it's not like the Star Wars ones where it's like kids, hey, you know, but like this narration, like, imagine Super Joe doing this, imagine this, imagine that.
Do it.
Imagine Super Joe punching Gorgon, or whatever his name is. Wow. Or You Can Imagine. I think it's You Can Imagine, but it's still, very demanding. Yeah.
That was,
and those were cool. I mean, I think that monster was maybe a little disappointing in reality, but still. And Super Joe, I accidentally chopped his head off.
Oh.
Yeah, you can imagine chopping Super Joe's head off in a fit of anger.
Well, you made it a reality, and then you regretted it instantly, it sounds like.
And I've, from, good old Brickman Tooth, has talked about those toys a little bit, and apparently they're very fragile, and they're hard to find intact.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, that world of G.I. Joe, I was not into G.I. Joe at all until I was a little bit into the smaller ones, like the cartoon. So that was not a part of my world at all. So yeah, I'll have to look that commercial up.
Be sending you some links.
Yes. All right. Let me talk about, I mentioned my favorite toy line of the 80s. It's a tie between Superpowers probably and the LJN WWF Wrestling Superstars. So the first ad, when they debuted this, was like Vince McMahon, like WWF Wrestling Superstars, and they'd have like the wrestlers like, jumping off the top rope and doing things and kind of mixing with kids playing, and the idea is you play it in the ring and like, they were, rubber figures that had no articulation at all, which, you'd have to use your imagination to do do basic moves or whatever. But, they kind of introduce like, your favorite superstars like, and the Iron Sheik, and, the Iron Sheik comes walking in, and like Roddy Piper, and then it's weird because like and Big John Studd, but Big John Studd isn't in you don't see a live action shot of Big John Studd, just the figures. Like, why'd they leave him out? I don't know. But it's pretty cool. But that got me really excited. And of course they would play that all the time during the wrestling shows. Yeah. And anything that was related to that, I had the ring that's in the commercial. The ring did not hold up. It broke after lots of use. Probably talked about this when we did Saturday Night's Main Event way long ago. But yes, I love that commercial. Very, it was well done. It was well done. It again, kind of that mixture of live action and kids actually playing with the toys to make you think like, oh, and kind of see yourself doing that.
So they were just like hard rubber.
Yeah.
They weren't even bendy.
Correct. They had a separate, like, smaller line of, like, bennies later, and they had thumb wrestlers that you could sort of move around to do, like, actual thumb wrestling. But, yeah, these were they were not really posable. They were pre-posed.
Yeah.
And they were fairly big.
And then there have been lots and lots of lines. There were some that were like He-Man-like, right? Or is that later?
Yeah, they're doing some now. There's some that, like, Hasbro had ones that were smaller, like more like a 3 3/4 inch size, but with, like, exaggerated, like, He-Man physiques.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, limited articulation, but you could do, like, power punches or something. They'd move their arms or something like that. If I may, like, so adjacent to that, another one I want to point out, not exactly a toy, but enough of a toy, I think, the Hulkamania workout set. This is great. She had a kid, like in his room, and all of a sudden, now you can be, big too, with no steroid references in this commercial. Were made any. But Paul Orndorff comes going through a wall. Paul Orndorff, I guess, was Hulk Hogan's friend at the time, and it was one of his big rivals before and after this commercial. But it always bugged me, like, why was Hulk Hogan not in his own? So it's the Hulkamania workout set. He's all over the box. They've got like, like little dumbbells and like a band and like a manual with like all these exercises. The only thing this commercial is missing is, Hulk Hogan. But Paul Orndorff does a good enough job. And Paul Orndorff was never like a real like, happy-going baby face kind of guy. So it's a little weird him like interacting with a kid or whatever. But he's enthusiastic enough because he comes in, he's like, points out the Hulkamania workout set and the kid's excited. He's like, it's got everything you need. I just always liked the way he said that. It's got everything you need. And, he was right.
I know. It's my chance to remind you that, which I'm sure I mentioned on our wrestling episode, he owned the bowling alley near where I lived.
That was very cool. Yes, that's one of the things that was notable.
And he was every now and then he was around, and dude was ripped. That Hulk Hogan workout set really works.
Yeah, but it's typical Hogan move. Just have somebody else shilling for his own, and he probably got all the money for it.
Yep.
But it was a nice little spot. But
it's a great opportunity.
But I like that commercial. I had no interest in getting the Hulkamania workout set that I recall. Didn't get it.
Did it come with a tearaway shirt?
No. Should have. Yeah, that would have sold it. That way, if you get the tearaway shirt, even if you don't use the equipment, you still get the effect. You can fool everybody. You're strong enough to pull off your shirt. But yes, I love those commercials. And because I watched wrestling every week, I saw those commercials all the time.
All right, my third one, again, not a huge surprise, but G.I. Joe.
Okay.
Real American Hero. Even before I was interested in the toys, I think I was interested in the commercials because they would have the little bit of animation at the beginning. I watched a few, and it all seems like there was like one piece of animation, and they would use parts of it, at least at first. You get into like a little bit later, and they start having like specific animation for whatever toy they're advertising, and like songs, making this up a little bit, but how are they going to get across the trench, bridge layer, kind of things,
Like really specific. Yeah,
there was a Zartan one that was like almost like a disco-y, like Zartan, he's a master of disguise. Zartan changes in front of your eyes, or something like that.
I like the effort. I like the extra effort, like doing songs tailored to the specific toy and situation.
But the one I specifically am picking, like the first two, like I found a string out that seemed to be in order when they aired too. I didn't watch them all, but because the first one I watched was like a string out, but it was all over the place. It was like there would be a Sergeant Slaughter one, and then which I wasn't into that part of it, but also those commercials don't look as cool. Like they're on videotape and they just don't look as cool. But it's kind of bouncing all over the place. But this one started in order. The first one is cool. It has the animation. And that animation might be what they used in the commercial for the comic book too. Okay. And then it just shows like this grid, like showing each of the main figures, the main Joes. Like nice. Infantrymen and their jobs, not even their code name. Huh. Ranger.
I don't remember that.
Commando. But the one I picked is the second one, which stars Breaker, communications expert. And he attacks a Cobra soldier who's got the Cobra flak cannon. And he uses the Ram motorcycle, knocks over the cannon. He also at one point hangs from a little tree, little twigs, and for some reason, when I did get those toys and was into it, like I thought Breaker was really cool. That was the figure I wanted. And it was because of that commercial. Wow. And it was fine. He did a little radio thing. That was cool. Like that was his extra doodad. But the motorcycle was cool.
Nice.
That's my G.I. Joe story.
Very cool.
Again, it was my G.I. Joe started on my birthday, but I got plenty of them for Christmas.
Yeah. Another effective piece of advertising.
Super effective.
Yeah.
They didn't have Alex Karras. You've seen that He-Man commercial, right? Like one of the early He-Man commercials is Alex Karras.
Oh, yes,
explaining He-Man to people, to parents.
That's right, yeah. I saw that recently.
Yes, recently, yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
No.
At the time.
They could pretend they're each He-Man figure, whatever he's saying. So those are my three. I have three.
Okay.
Three main ones and then those other ones.
Okay. I can mention maybe two more, and then we'll get into the female-oriented commercials. I'll just mention those.
The distaff.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Did I ever mention that this is from 1989, actually. So it's kind of like at this point, it's like, okay, I just, want to get an allowance or something and make, earn some money to get these myself.
Yeah.
But did I ever mention the starting lineup, Cooperstown, or Greats of the Game, Baseball Greats commercial? This is a work of art. This is beautiful. 30 seconds, starting lineup. It doesn't start off with the toys. It starts out with like footage of actual baseball footage. Ooh. So it's like baseball action and then like classic shots that you probably, even if you haven't, you feel like you've seen them a bunch of times with like people like in hats and stuff like, reacting to like great plays and stuff like that. So the emphasis is on the people watching as much as like the actual plays and stuff. But there's like this like really like kind of like soulful song, and it's like racing along. I was chasing a dream. I was brazen and brash, and I swear there were times that it seemed. And then it's like, it seemed. And then the music picks up and it's like that I could fly over walls. Whoa, whoa. And he's like, I really could win them all. And summer would go on forever. And like this, the music kind of fades, and then you hear like, like the same announcer guy that did tons of like commercial ads, and you see like the actual figures, and they're not super detailed or anything, but you see like, these guys like Babe Ruth and stuff, and he's like starting lineup, baseball greats or whatever, and it's like, wow, this is great. And it's like, it has the history of the game. It has like this cool song that gets you like motivated and stuff. And so one of the advantages of having YouTube is I was able to track down this ad, and it took a while, but I found the ad, and there's just like these people, like all these grown men talking about their reaction to this, seeing this ad and how emotional it made them. And there's just something like about the way they put it together in 30 seconds, like beautiful piece of promotion here, and got across the line that just the very end, you see just enough like, okay, they got these toys, baseball, and appealing to kids with a sense of that history of the game, using black and white footage and stuff, which you never do now. Like you think, oh, this might be passé, but and marketed probably for nostalgia for adults maybe as much as kids.
Yeah.
Because even at that time, you're starting to get into this. But yeah,
and these were figures like Babe Ruth kind of.
Yeah, like real players, like Hall of Famers. I should have brought one out here.
Dizzy Dean.
Yeah.
Was there a Dizzy Dean?
There was a Dizzy Dean. There's like, I've got it over my table there. I got a Walter Johnson, Lou Gehrig. They went pretty deep with some of these.
Yeah.
And then eventually they would go into, I think they started out with like real old-time players, and it's kind of remarkable just the fact that they made figures, really kids figures, of players from like the 1920s.
Wait, who's that behind you? Did you say that?
Well, okay. There's Babe Ruth actually.
Yeah.
There's different Babe Ruth. That's
see, he wasn't watching a Harold Lloyd movie, so I didn't recognize him.
That's right. But so that one is from 1995. So they expanded the line in Cooperstown collection. Then they'd have pretty much anybody like in the Hall of Fame. So they get more recent players, like guys from like the 70s and 80s. They would do those in the 90s and stuff like that. But that first batch, they were like really old players, like immortals. So yeah, I love that commercial, and you'll have to watch that, everybody, and see if you don't get a little emotional, especially. And as a fan of not just baseball, but the history of baseball as a kid, that was right in my wheelhouse. I love that ad. One more I'll mention is a board game, actually. In the commercial of 1977 had a celebrity. The game was Touche. Did you ever have Touche, Mike?
No.
Okay, Touche. And
I had Three-Shay. No.
Three-Shay. Oh, figures. There's always one kid that has to have it. So Dick Van Dyke is in this ad, and I remember this playing for quite a while, I think. But there's like a futuristic setting of some kind of room, like kind of the thing with a really stark white background. No, nothing on the walls, just this white room. There's a mysterious figure who's introducing the board game to Dick Van Dyke and telling him you have to do this. But what it is, it's sort of like Connect 4 or something. But you have these pieces. There's a game board, and you're trying to like line up, get like 5 in a row, what are red and black your pieces. But the thing is that, like, the board is magnetized and it can change. So when you put something down, it could actually flip over because of the magnet. And there's a mechanism to shuffle the magnet, so it would change each time you do the game. So it wasn't as easy as just like tic-tac-toe. There was that added magnetic element. And I loved this game as a kid. I remember, playing it, I think probably mostly, with my dad, and just a really cool game. And it's interesting that Dick Van Dyke, of all people, did this ad. Where
seems really weird.
And it's really like he's kind of like more of a passive participant in this. There's this shadowy figure and this futuristic background. But it was I think it's a cool commercial because it takes what's really a very basic game with a cool gimmick, but it's really just kind of like a Connect Four tic-tac-toe, and turns it into this futuristic kind of sci-fi thing.
Yeah, that makes me think there were cool board game commercials. I mean, I just sort of remember, not exactly what happened, but like I never had Mousetrap, but I sort of remember commercials for that. And Mastermind, do you remember that game?
I remember.
We definitely had
that. Any commercials for it, but
I remember seeing commercials for that. And
like if it didn't have a song, I don't like Operation and Perfection. I remember.
Yeah, Operation, of course. Yeah, Butterfingers.
And Hungry Hippos.
Yes, Hungry Rock'em Sock'em.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Clue had a cool commercial or two.
Yeah, Clue I think they did advertise too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think.
Sorry, yeah. Life
commercials. Yeah. Oh yeah, be a winner at the game of life.
Yeah. Yeah, Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
We had a lot of board games as a family and played them a lot, but yeah, Touche is one that I don't see people talk about much anymore, so I wanted to bring that one up. I don't know if we...
I would like if the box had said, it's like tic-tac-toe, but with an added magnetic element. So let me start with one of my dishonorable mentions, and I couldn't find an actual American commercial. I found a British one. I think is the American footage, but with British voiceover. But kind of a game / toy. Turn the Terrible Tank.
Turn the Terrible Tank. I don't remember this.
So there was like a little plastic track, essentially, and then this motorized tank. And so at the end of each side of the track was a little cannon, and you shot ball bearings up the track. The track had a trench in it, and you also had a little barrier. And this tank, which had instead of a gun, it had like a drill on it, but it would go down the track, and then it had underneath it this thing that went up and down. And if you hit that with the ball bearing, it would turn around and go back. And whoever's got hit first, the tank reached their barrier and knocked it over and lost. And I remember seeing the commercial and thinking it was cool. And I think playing it at someone else's house and having fun, and then, getting it. It was kind of, once or twice, but the tank sat around for a long time.
Wow.
Probably lost all the ball bearings or something.
Yeah. I have no memory of that at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So, yeah, I couldn't find the commercial. I found a British one, and then I found one that turned out to be some kind of parody, where it's like two adults dressed as kids playing it.
Wow. Okay.
So that was, I guess, a dishonorable mention.
Okay. This is not
your lady toys.
Not dishonorable, but Lori mentioned, and this I instantly remembered. Get in Shape Girl. It was another fitness set, but it had like a big jingle. Get in shape, girl. You know the feeling. Kind of like after the Jane Fonda and workout video craze. This was kind of designed to cash in on that. And they had more sets than I remembered. They had some kind of balance beam or something. I don't know what they were having kids do, but it was mostly like you'd get like little like headbands and stuff like that. It was like a whole thing where they would do that. Now, my sisters didn't remember that, which I'm a little disappointed because maybe they were too young, but I remember seeing that jingle all the time around the house. It was very, and it was again, it would be on all the time during shows that probably all of us were watching, but especially the shows they were watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had more than I thought to that line. It wasn't just like one kit. Unlike the Hulkamania workout set, they expanded and had all sorts of accessories and things, and went on for a couple of years, I guess.
And then they ended it after they made the mistake of having a tearaway shirt.
Yeah.
No, this is not appropriate. Okay, my other dishonorable mention is the commercial is very entertaining, but Nerf Pool. Do you remember Nerf Pool?
We had Nerf Pool.
So did we, and it was kind of not cool.
It didn't really work.
I mean, the commercial is great. It's like a kid, and I don't know if it's supposed to be his grandparents or his parents, because I mean, the dad kind of looks like what was the famous pool player? Fats,
Minnesota Fats
or something.
Yeah.
But they clear the kitchen table and they hook the Nerf pool. Hey, you can play pool anywhere and not worry about scratching the table.
Yeah.
And it looks like a lot of fun. And we got it, and it just wasn't that fun.
Yeah, I think it was.
And I had played on pool on a real pool table. I wouldn't call it real pool.
Right.
So could tell there was a difference.
Yeah, you actually had to have, I think, like an ideal setup for it to work at all. And
like
there's
this
a reason,
table might be good for it.
Yeah, there's a reason the pool is played on a pool table because the ball moves a certain way. You have enough space.
Right.
We actually had a real pool table for a while, in our basement for a while. So, and that we just put holes in the wall with cue movements.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good one. I forgot all about that one. I don't remember the commercial for that though, so I'll be anxious to see that one.
Like the stick was kind of fun to use for other things, as a sword and things. But,
yeah. I remember we had Nerf ping pong too. I think, and that was even more difficult to really get to work. I think. I mean, well intentioned, but difficult in execution.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay, another one I'll mention: Power Wheels. So Power Wheels, like my one sister mentioned, I wasn't really a big wheels guy. I remember going more right to like having a bike.
Yeah.
But it was like go Power Wheels, and like now I can really drive. At the end. something. Yeah, that was a little bit later in the 80s.
Is that a big wheel or is that like a motorized car thing?
Well, like a motorized.
Oh, okay.
To sort of look like a big wheel.
Oh, okay.
So like somewhere in between like a real big motorized. But yeah, these are pretty cool vehicles. And this one commercial that I'm thinking of, there's like 5 or 6 kids driving around, each with different vehicles,
Wow.
Having a little demolition derby, I guess, or something. But that's a big toy to get on anytime. Those are expensive, I'm sure.
I had a big wheel with it had a little box in it. You could push a button and it would roar like a lion.
Ooh, pretty cool.
Okay, my honorable mention is really just because I think this played on TBS all the time. The Mickey Mouse talking phone. With the girl who said, "Hey Mickey, come over. We're having a party." And luckily, it took a while to find it. I mean, like 10 minutes, but because there were other commercials for it, like from different eras, and then I found one, and again, it was a parody. Like it played that part, and then some adult dude commenting on that. But I just remember that being on all the time
on TBS. You said,
yeah. I think they have a lot of toy commercials. But the other thing I haven't gotten through, but I did find, or maybe because I watched that or was watching these things that got recommended. It was like a whole half hour's worth. I think it's a half hour, maybe it's longer, but it's from 1985 from one of the UHF channels in Atlanta, just the commercial breaks during Super Friends cartoons.
Oh, cool.
Like there's an advertisement for the upcoming G.I. Joe miniseries.
Ooh, wow.
But it's more for like there's some contest. Like I mean, it's a cool contest. Like you basically win every toy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I bet I sent a postcard in for that. I must have.
Yeah.
That was just cool to see that.
That's cool. And like in the UHF blocks, you can get some like different kind of commercials and some cheaper ones and stuff.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. For some reason, there were multiple times for Sugar Crisp changing their name to Super Golden Crisp. Changed our name, and we have a gold box now. Okay. Whatever. Cool. So that's the end of my stuff.
Okay, I'll just mention 2 more quick ones, courtesy of my sisters. This is one I'm throwing out there because I didn't remember this at all. The commercial nor the toy. Cherry Mary Muffins. Sort of a strawberry shortcake knockoff, but they sold them as dolls, but also with like little mini kitchen accessories and like a pretend kitchen, and they had like the scent gimmick, I think. And one of my sisters has one that she said still smells pretty good. Okay. She found it. Made me think of it. Another one, now this is just distinctive ad, I guess, Teddy Ruxpin. So when Teddy Ruxpin came on, and there's this one ad here where this hapless-looking kid is clutching his Teddy Ruxpin with both hands. He goes onto a school bus. Everybody's kind of like ignoring him and they're all talking. And the kid, like in the back of the bus, like just activates the Teddy Ruxpin, and Teddy Ruxpin starts talking, and all the kids are like, and like, so the kid and Teddy Ruxpin are like the center of attention, and the bus drops at school, and the kids aren't even paying attention because they're so captivated by what Teddy Ruxpin's doing.
What a terrible message.
As Lori pointed out, the message is clearly, if your kid's not popular, buy him Teddy Ruxpin, and the kids will give attention by proxy at least.
Or it's sending the message directly to the kid. If you're not popular,
yes,
you just need this.
Yes,
everyone will love you.
That's totally the message. So I got a kick out of that. I didn't remember that. I remember the toy, of course, but did not remember that commercial. So we'll throw that in the list as well.
Made by made by the ad agency who also brought you such commercials as Bud Light. Man, print ads for cigarettes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all sorts of shady 1970s toys.
Yeah.
Various dangerous mechanisms.
Right. All right. Well, this is a good. Let's hear your memories.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Whatever holiday you're celebrating.
Yes, and hopefully you get a cool toy that you've wanted.
Yeah.
Or maybe an old toy that you never got.
That's right. And if you get Teddy Ruxpin, we'll put you on the podcast. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, we've wanted to book him for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and of course we realize Christmas isn't all about toys, and it never was. But for me, it kind of was all about toys for a good run there.
And then it was just kind of boring after that.
Yeah. Lots of other great memories, but some of my best memories are, and not just seeing the commercials, the anticipation. If you're lucky enough to get something like that, the best feeling in the world, or one of the best feelings is coming down Christmas morning and seeing some of this stuff under the tree. Yeah. Some of the worst feeling is seeing a commercial and not getting it under the tree.
That's right.
No. I have lots of great memories, and watching these commercials brings back a lot of good ones. And Mike, a lot of yours are ones I'm not familiar with, so I'm looking forward to checking them out. Okay.
They can come over for a party.
Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network Shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle of the Network Shows.